move 998 minus
No, so 5%. So, Mr. Cotter, let's put 998 at the last day docket. Delegates, your first year, it needs to be in pretty good shape because there won't be another day to put it on.
I understand.
Very good. Okay.
That's why I'm putting it by 5 for the time, because I probably put it in the best shape it can be.
Right. House Bill 997, tell us how this is different than the last couple of bills, or if it isn't, tell us that.
Well, in many ways it is similar to the other bills. I would like, and I very much appreciate all the arguments that have been made. I note that every person that came up here spoke in favor of decriminalization, except the Commonwealth's attorney who took no position on it. So it's interesting to me that they didn't oppose it. I do want to just make a few arguments that haven't been made yet on the whole process of decriminalization. A recent Gallup poll 6 months ago said that 44% of Americans have tried marijuana. These are people who admitted to the pollster that they tried it. I suspect that many of the 56% did not want to admit to have committed a crime, so I suspect it's much higher than that. But even if it's only the 44% who've admitted it, we're talking about almost 4 million Virginians, pretty much half the public. So half the public, according to current Virginia law, are criminals. They're misdemeanors. They are guilty of a Class 1 misdemeanor. Half of Virginia, according to Virginia law, should go to jail for up to 12 months. We need to incarcerate half of the population of Virginia, according to current law. I would say,
Do you have something in appropriations on that?
well, that's the current law. I mean, really, it would save a lot of money if we didn't incarcerate them. Doggy Lord. Look, I think we'd have to go back really to Prohibition times to find a time when so many Americans and Virginians are violating a law. I think when you have half a population violating a law, it's a law that's not working. And I want to say something just very personal on this. I am not of that 44%. I have never smoked marijuana. I never will. I don't want to. I don't like it around me, frankly. I don't like tobacco smoke around me. It gives me a sore throat. I support bills to prohibit smoking in public places, whether it be tobacco or marijuana. At the same time, I recognize that putting large amounts of people in jail doesn't solve this problem. I recognize that 400,000 Americans die every year due to tobacco, and I doubt you can find 400 Americans dying due to marijuana. Tobacco is a far more dangerous drug. If you want to ban something, you might want to start with tobacco. I believe that when people smoke, and more people apparently smoke marijuana than smoke tobacco, that when we start saying that half of our citizens are criminals, this is a law that's gone wrong. The bill would decriminalize it. It would not legalize it. It would treat it like a speeding ticket. I haven't smoked marijuana, but I do have my share of speeding tickets. And people make mistakes, and this is the kind of thing that would allow that. One last thing. Due to inequality, we have cases where if you're rich and you smoke marijuana, you don't get caught. You can do it in a private place. You don't have to do it on a street corner. You're home free. If you're poor, as one of the speakers mentioned, this is something that can haunt you for the rest of your life. You can lose your job. You can lose your livelihood. What we basically are criminalizing is poverty. We're criminalizing the half of Americans. There's no indication that rich people use marijuana any less than poor people. It's just that the poor people only suffer the consequences of this. I think this would be a first step. I think we're seeing this across the country. This is something, as one of the speakers said, 70% of Virginians support. I think it's a modest effort to make it more like a speeding ticket than like a crime. And when half of Virginia is violating the law, maybe it's the law that's the mistake. Thank you.
Any member of the public like to be heard? Again, we're happy to hear what you've said before, but we were all here. Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Kevin Carroll. I'm president of Fraternal Police Virginia. Sorry I missed the other bills. We opposed the legislation. We've been looking at studies that have come out of Colorado now, which is one of the first places to decriminalize marijuana in the country. And I don't have time to sit here and tell you all the problems that are occurring in Colorado right now. I think that there's a nice social experiment that's going on out there, and we in Virginia need to be a little bit smarter and take our time and look at this objectively before we rush into anything. Just because other parts of the country have done this, we've found that this drug leads to other drugs. There's no question about it. And we oppose the legislation. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Okay. Any member of the public like to be heard?
just want to clarify a few points if we're going to talk about statistics. The national average for marijuana possession arrests from 2003 to 2013 declined 6.5%. In Virginia, we are now the embarrassment of the nation by an increase in 76% in the same time frame. And if you are African American, your rate has gone up 106%. This is a clear indication of policing for profit. And I would simply argue that the problems that come out of Colorado,
I'm sorry,
perhaps
ma'am.
with the myopic view.
Pardon me, Mr.
Oh.
Mr. Chair. Whose profit precisely do you mean?
Asset forfeiture from arrests.
Asset forfeiture for arrests for misdemeanor possession of marijuana?
Potentially, sure.
You have an example of somebody having their assets seized for misdemeanor possession? I'm not even sure that's possible.
Okay, well, if you were perchance to be a medical patient in possession of a life-saving product and you were arrested, then that would immediately be confiscated from you.
Oh,
There are an exorbitant amount of fines that you must go through. You would have to complete the drug education program on probation, not to mention the cost for attorneys, and then if you were to go through any sort of other expungement.
Yep, go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to illustrate again the racial disparity in arrests and prosecution, and that while the rest of our nation is moving forward and the states around us are decriminalizing, legalizing, building out comprehensive medical programs, here we are simply targeting our citizens in this state for what is legal across or decriminalized across now the majority of our country.
Thank you. Anybody else need to be heard? Like to be heard? Okay. I'll break that motion. Motion made to lay on the table. Is there a second? Second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay.